of this ummah. This was the Fir'aun of this ummah. Of the people who met a very evil end was Umaya ibn Khalaf. And again, we notice, especially in the story of Umayya, that Allah's justice is infinite. That as you do unto others, it shall be done unto you. That those whom you hurt, those whom you cause problems to, they will be able to get their own revenge. We see this especially in the story of Umaya ibn Khalaf. And I already mentioned that Umayya was a coward. And Umayya had tried to bribe his way out. And Umayya did not want to go. And Umayya was shamed into going. Why? Because deep down inside he was scared. The Prophet ﷺ had told him, if I ever meet you outside of Mecca, you are not going to live. And he was terrified because he knew deep down inside that this was true. So he was scared of leaving Mecca. But his arrogance got the better of him, and they shamed him into coming, and he remained a begging coward to the very end. When he saw that the Quraysh had fled, as we're going to come to this in a while, when he saw that his own people had fled, he began looking at somebody that he could get on his side. And one of his best friends in the days of Jahiliyyah was Abdurrahman ibn Auf, that rich businessman, right? Abdurrahman ibn Auf was a rich businessman in the days of Mecca. Then he gave up everything, as you know the story, in Medina. Then he started all over again and he became rich again. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf and Umayya are both rich businessmen in Jahiliyyah. And they have a very strong bond from the days of Jahiliyyah. So much so that when Abdurrahman converted, he remained good friends with Umayya. He didn't, like that friendship did not diminish. That they had and he didn't persecute, Umayya did not persecute Abdurrahman. The only thing, by the way, Abdurrahman, his name was Abdu Amrin. And so when he changed, he converted, he changed his name to Abdurrahman. And Umayya said, I cannot call you this. Why? Because I don't know who is this Rahman. I don't know who is this Rahman. You know the Quraysh refused to believe in Ar-Rahman. وَهُمْ يَكْفُرُونَ بِالرَّحْمَنِ, right? And so Abdurrahman said that I'm not going to respond to my old name of Abdu Amrin. I'm not going to respond to that. So they said, what can we do? So he said, okay, I will call you Abdul Ilah. Are you fine with that? So Abdurrahman said, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. So Abdul Rahman would always be called Abdul Ilah by Umayya. So one of those strange things. So the only name that would call Abdul Ilah, Umayya would call him always Abdul Ilah. So when he sees Abdul Rahman, Abdul Ilah passing by, he holds on to him with two hands. And he notices that Abdul Rahman ibn Auf has in his hands the armor of somebody who has been killed. And so he's taking this armor back to his place, to his tent, Abdul Rahman. So he says, oh Abdul Rahman, what if, or sorry, Abdul Ilah, we never call him Abdul Rahman. Oh Abdul Ilah, what if I were to give you much more than this armor? What if I were to give you many milking camels? Camels that are giving milk are the most expensive, right? I'll give you as much as you want. Get rid of this and protect me. Take me as a prisoner and I'll give you as much as you want, right? Begging for his life to the very end, thinking he'll be able to buy it out. And so, I mean, Abdul Rahman is a businessman even on the battlefield. Even on the battlefield. And it is a halal transaction, completely halal. So he throws away the armor and he holds on Abdul Rahman, and he had a son with him, a young man with him. So the two of them, he held on to their hands, and now instead of the armor, he's taking these two back to the tent, or back to the muaskar, or back to the camp of the Muslims, to basically say, these are my prisoners of war, then we'll ransom them off, and he's promised me a big ransom. Now, of course, Allah wills. There's just no way that this is, this is going to happen, right? Out of all the people in the world, of course, who do you think Allah chose to stop this entourage from getting to safety zone? Obviously, this clearly, wallahi, there's just no question for any of our minds. Allah Azza wa Jalla, this is not going to happen. Umayya is not going to be saved, right? So, before they get to the camp, and this is the key point here, because they're still on the battlefield, the war is still going on, right? And a number of things can be said here. Firstly, the laws of war have not yet been revealed. The laws of qital have not yet been revealed. As we're going to see, what happens to the prisoners, they didn't know what to do. What happens to the ransom, they don't know what to do. What happens to what to do? All of this is, the war booty, the ghanima, they don't know what to do, right? So all of this is going to come down later on. So firstly, it was the laws of Islam about qital had not yet been revealed. Secondly, technically they're still on the battlefield. And this is a key point. They're not actually in the army yet. They're in the safety zone. There's still, war is happening. So it's a gray area. It's a gray area where the rules met or not, completely gray. So Allah Azza wa Jal intended this, that Bilal sees Abdurrahman carrying or holding Umayya's hand as prisoners now and just walking back. And Bilal says, Umaya ibn Khalaf, Ra's al-Kufr, the leader of Kufr, you are giving him security? Wallahi la najawtu in naja, which basically means over my dead body. It's literally what it means, right? Over my dead body, you're going to get this man back there, right? Now, Abdurrahman begins begging and pleading. Because, I mean, it's halal, nothing wrong with this. He wants plenty of riches. It's like, these are my prisoners, Bilal. Calm down, Bilal. It's all right, Bilal. These are my prisoners. He doesn't, but Bilal is getting more and more, and he's raising his voice, right? Umaya ibn Khalaf, Ra's al-Kufr, la najawtu in naja. And he keeps on raising his voice until finally he calls a group of the Ansar for his help. And he said, this is that man that did what he did to me. This is that man. And the Ansar now, they know exactly who this man is now. Because Bilal's story is, if it's well known to us, what do you think to them? Imagine, right? Out of all of the Sahaba, our children, they know Bilal's story more than they know anybody else's. Isn't that true? Right? The ahadun ahad, that's the point. That Allah Azza wa Jal preserved his legacy, really like he preserved almost no other legacy. The one story that every child knows is the story of Bilal. Allah has preserved his izzah and honor. So the Ansar, Bilal comes to them, a group of Ansar, they're not really mentioned, and he brings them to Abdurrahman. And Abdurrahman now has to negotiate with all of them, right? And he says, these are my prisoners. Now he doesn't want to say they promised me money, because that would really be bad. But he's saying, these are my prisoners. They have entrusted themselves to me. And Bilal keeps on saying that you are not going to save this man. La najutu in naja, I will over my dead body. Until finally they surrounded Abdurrahman ibn Auf, the whole group of Ansar. And over his negotiations, they began prodding and basically sticking their swords in. So much so it is said that Abdurrahman tried to stop them with his own body. Now he's not going to fight Muslims over this, but he's trying to stop them, and they would go underneath his hands. Like they don't want to hit him either, right? So they're trying to get him. And he was wounded, Abdurrahman was wounded in the foot by one of the swords, that when they're going underneath it, it hit his foot as well. And he would show that wound as long as he lived, that this is the wound that I got on the day of Badr because of Umayya. And eventually, they managed to kill the both of them, Umayya and his son. They managed to kill the both of them. And Abdurrahman would say till he died, may Allah have mercy on Bilal. Not only did he stop me from getting my 2 ransoms, I never got the armor back as well, right? I lost everything. And he still remembered, I lost everything on Badr, that I got this and I was going to get this, and now may Allah have mercy on Bilal, I neither got this nor did I get that. And again, subhanAllah, here we have the same voice that would cry out ahadun ahad. That was the voice that caused Umayya's death. That same loud voice that will call out ahadun ahad, the same voice, right? Allah Azza wa Jalla will that it will come back now to haunt Umayya. And it was that voice that brought the help of the Ansar and managed to kill Umaya ibn Khalaf before he reached the safety of the camp. And Umaya ibn Khalaf as well, subhanAllah, the only person who was not buried was Umaya ibn Khalaf. All of the pagans, Quraysh, all of them were buried. Umaya ibn Khalaf, when they found his body after the battle had finished, they found his body and he died on a bed of pebbles. SubhanAllah, look at this.